So Codaplex is registered. So basically, Codaplex is a registered non-profit organization. It was registered in 2018, but the work I've been doing that work since 2016, the community work. So it's been 4 years now. And our goal is how do we improve the state of tech ecosystem in India, basically, and help more people kind of get ahead in their career in tech free of cost, right? So we try to work on different sort of ideas to improve the tech ecosystem here and stuff. And the main work we do is we manage multiple developer communities in Hyderabad that today reach up to about 15,000 people across different meetup groups and stuff. The main group is the Codaplace community group, of course, but we also have adopted other groups like Angular Hyderabad. We also volunteer and help with the Cloud Native Hyderabad and AWS Hyderabad, and more recently even Vue.js Hyderabad. Um, so we manage all these communities basically, and we try to organize frequent sessions. We try to do between 1 to 2 sessions per week. Like yesterday, we had a session on microservices with Verizon. The last week we had one on open source as well. So next week we have one on Git and GitHub basics. So every week we try to have at least 1 to 2 sessions, sometimes more than that as well. We also have a pretty active online chat room. So if you are not part of our community chat room, you can check out and join because we have a lot of people here and they all like connect with each other, communicate with each other. You can go to this URL chat.coderplex.org and that should redirect you to our Discord server. You will have to sign up on Discord if you're not already, if you don't have an account there. So when you join, once you join, you will see these channels on the left. The first section is community channels, like general conversations, any job openings in the city or whatever are shared in the jobs channel. Serious discussions happen in discussions. Off-topic conversations, upcoming events that are happening are shared in the upcoming events channel. Open source related conversations happen in open source channel. So pretty much all of you would be interested in at least this channel, open source channel. Then we have specific technology focused kind of channels as well, like web dev, mobile, different programming languages, cloud native, computer science related conversations, AI, data science, decentralization, and information security as well. So these are the channels, and you can make sure you join this chat room, and you can ask any questions, share your knowledge with people. We have about 2,000 people in our Discord. It's not as active because here most people aren't familiar or active in Discord, but we have a lot of people and it's pretty active generally. So you can share stuff and help each other out there as well. Next thing is, if you are not already a part of our meetup group, make sure you join that. So this is the main meetup group that we manage. We have about 6,200 members, more than that right now, and you can also share it with your friends, anyone you think would be interested in learning and taking advantage of the community, who wants to build their career in tech or whatever. You can suggest them to join as well. So the link for that is meetup.com/Codaplex. And we are also actively looking, because we organize so many sessions in a month, we are actively constantly looking for more speakers. So if you are interested in speaking on any topic, or you know someone who's interested in speaking on any topic and sharing the knowledge, you can go to this form. The URL, the short link is bit.ly/Hyderabad HYD-tech-speakers. So this form is shared among pretty much all the developer communities in Hyderabad. So if you submit this form, then any of us can reach out to you for any future events that we might organize. We can invite you to come and speak, basically. So check out this form. And finally, so we are organizing a crowdfunding campaign. It's been alive, active for more than a month, I think now. So since we are a non-profit organization and I personally do this community work full time, I don't have any other job or anything that pays me or whatever. So because I do this work full time and it's a non-profit organization, we are organizing a crowdfunding campaign. If you find any value in being part of the community, if it's helpful for you, if it helps you learn or gives any value to you, I do consider making some contribution. In fact, like our speaker for today, Zubair, he's been a member for the community since 2016. I believe he's one of the longest members we have had, and he alone has contributed a significant sum recently to our crowdfund as well. So it would be extremely helpful for us, and it's not really about the amount, it's more about the gesture of contributing and like showing us that we are creating something that is helpful, like we are doing something that is valuable to people. So even a small amount of even like 50 rupees or 100 rupees would be extremely helpful. It validates the work we are doing. It shows us that we are doing some good work and we should continue doing that work, basically. So do consider making a contribution to our crowdfund as well. The link for that is bit.ly/support-cpx. That should redirect you to our crowdfunding page as well. So that's about it from my end. Now I think Zubair, you can take it over from here. We have around 20 people in the call. If any of you have any questions, you can ask them in the chat here, or you can also, like, it's okay to interrupt as well. You can unmute yourself and interrupt and ask your questions as well. We want this to be as engaging as possible, because end of the day we want as many people from Hyderabad, from India, getting into open source and contributing to open source project. Like, we really want to build a very strong open source culture here. So any questions you have, do feel free to ask them, because we really want to help you kind of get into open source and contribute. So that's it from my end. Zubair, you can present from your end and take it over.
Thank you so much, Kapil. Hello, everyone. Actually, looking at listening to all your questions, I actually got a really good understanding what I want to present today, in what sense and what problems the new open source contributions face. I hope I'm audible to everyone. Am I clear enough? Okay. Okay.
You're audible, but your voice is breaking a little bit. I'm not sure if it's just for me or if other people are also facing it, but it's thoda breaking.
Okay.
There is.
We have some Kapil.
Yeah. Let me. Can you? Is it clear now? There's no background, right?
Yeah, it's clear. Yeah, it's
Okay.
clear. You can go ahead. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So a little bit about me. I'm a front-end JavaScript developer. I've been working as a developer for past 2.5 years now, remotely for a company in Belgium. Before that, I was a mechanical engineer. so a journey from mechanical to computer science wasn't easy, but yes, it had its own challenges. But I'm glad organizations such as previously Codaplex used to be Free Code Camp. So I'm really glad that such communities existed at that point of time when I was really starting on my career, to help me, guide me, to motivate me to keep going forward. So journey of my journey of open source journey started I think in the year 2017. So I knew that contributing to open source were good and all, but as many of you guys have told, I was kind of afraid to go ahead, because I thought I didn't have adequate skills to contribute to to a project which is used by millions of people. So but turns out I was wrong, actually. So so the event which actually kickstarted my open source was Hacktoberfest. That is 2017, I think, that was there. So I got to know about Hacktoberfest from this Codaplex and all. And I thought, okay, let's try to give it a shot. So the first thing which I was stuck with, which project should I contribute to? So that is the main blocking question everybody has, right? So I thought, if I contribute to a project which is easier, then probably I can get started with. So then I started looking at the issues. So basically what I did was, let me share my screen. Okay, is it visible? You have to go back and check. Okay, yeah.
Yes, Zubair. Yeah, it's visible.
Yeah. So basically, Hacktoberfest was the season. Usually, what other maintainers do is they tag all the issues with the label called Hacktoberfest. Okay. So since it was October and it was Hacktoberfest, what I did, I basically searched for Hacktoberfest. And then from here onwards, as you can see, you have like so many repos and everything. I just want to know the issues which are tagged which are tagged in Hacktoberfest, right? Then I selected a language. So basically, although I was not very comfortable with JavaScript back then, I thought it would be a good way to actually start and learn JavaScript, in public, basically. So it doesn't matter if you are like starting out or you are intermediate developer. Uh, by contributing to open source, you actually learn a skill. So as last year, I was not at all comfortable with Go. So I thought maybe I should contribute, and then that is how I picked up. It's been like 6 months now. I'm pretty much confident in writing a Go code. Then you can select a language from here, whichever you are comfortable with. So my language of choice was JavaScript. Then I started looking at the issues which are actually in JavaScript. I made few contributions here and there, and then I started losing motivation. Now this usually happens when uh, number one is you are not provided enough feedback, or you are not provided a positive feedback, and number two, maybe the effectiveness of your pull request is not much. Okay, so these kind of things, get your morale down in continuing contributing to open source. So then I did, okay, I need to, I think I need to bump up my pull request and quality of my pull request. So at that time, I thought the libraries or projects which I'm already working on. For example, if I was doing React development, so I thought, why not I, contribute to a React, not only React, at least React project, not only React repo. And and as you all know, as you all also feel, even I felt ki, okay, it might be a very big of a step, because React is used by people all over the world. uh, my contributions might be very tiny, and all that you know doubts started coming to me. But then I somehow picked up the courage and then started searching for the issues. So the way I search for the issues is basically find a project which you are interested in. So in JavaScript, I thought maybe for the React, right? So I went to the repository. I clicked the issues, and now there will be like tons of issues which you will never understand, right? Because this is a new project, and you will not understand what's going on, what people are talking about. So basically, you go to something called labels, and then you search for labels such as easy or first timers only, all that. Okay, so it's not a uniform wording or uniform label. Different repos have different uh, labels for that. So let me see difficulty starter. You see this, and there's something called good first issues. So you need to search for this kind of issues if you're kind of starting. So then I thought, okay, so I got one issue, then started working on that. Now before that, the way you say that you're working on an issue is, for example, if this is the issue, I open this issue, I initially will obviously not know what's going on, but I feel then you start reading what exactly the issue is, then it will be an easy issue. So, and also nobody else has commented on that. For example, if people have already commented on this key saying that I'm going to work on this, it's fine. You step back and find an issue which nobody else has commented on. So, uh, and if no one else has commented on, you just say, I want to work on this issue. And it's okay if you don't understand. If it's okay if you don't understand the complete code base, It's okay if you don't understand the project. It's totally fine. Taking that first step is important. Saying that you will do it, but it need not be in a 1 day or 2 day work. It could be months. Open source, single pull request could take months to get merged in the project. That's totally fine, because people do open source when they have time. Okay? So you're not expected to send a pull request now and get it merged tomorrow. It's nothing like that. So what I did is I didn't know anything, so I just search for my issue, which I actually worked on. So I'm going to go to the pull request. Then I'm going to search for the author, which is me. And then I'm going to go to close. So this was the first issue which I worked on back in 2017. Okay. So I kind of knew what prop types was, but I had no idea where exactly should I work on this, which part of the code base I should work on this. I had I had no idea at all. So anyways, what I did is as people are familiar, I cloned the repo. I just sat with the code base for a few hours. I gave it time, because initially it will nothing of the code base would make sense to you. That's totally fine. Give it few hours. At least give it few days. Okay, until you actually find what you're looking for. So maybe even if still you're not able to find anything, you can always comment in the issue. Say, hey, I'm trying to work on this issue, and I'm kind of stuck over here. I don't know where to start. Uh, Maintainers usually appreciate that, and they encourage people to ask questions in the beginning. So once the question is answered, they probably will give you some pointers to where to start. They might also give you the steps to actually reproduce that issue and work on this. Okay, so for this also, I asked, I asked, where exactly should I find something like this and all that. So they were really helpful and they guided me. It happens usually in GitHub issues, but few projects also have their own communities. They might have a Spectrum chat room or a Discord chat room or a Slack group or a Mattermost community. It happens. Projects are different. So it's okay if you can, for a start, you can post a question on the same issue itself. And then when I started, after the guidance of the mentors and everyone, I started looking at the code. As you can see, it's not much I did. It's nothing much. You see, only I think 10 lines I added, and but to get to this, but add these 10 lines, I actually spent like a week just to add exactly what exactly code has to be there, right? And it's still there. This once that was merged, okay, before merging. So basically, what will happen is once you send a pull request, okay, you should always make a feature branch, okay, before sending a pull request. You cannot work on the same master branch of your fork. It is always advisable to create a new branch, maybe by the ticket name or ticket description, something like that, and then send a pull request. It is often encouraged to send the pull request early, because what that will give you is it will validate your approach. So if you're going in the wrong direction and you send a pull request, and the maintainer could say, hey, actually we're not looking something like this, could you try doing going in that direction? That also saves you time and also the time for the maintainer. Okay, so early uh, guidance is really appreciated. And then after you think the code is good, obviously the maintainers will now, before that, all the big projects, okay, they usually have their own standards. They have their own approaches, which they expect contributor to follow. For example, uh, not many would like you cannot have Even if you don't write any comments, maybe the maintainer would ask you to write some comments too, because you you're not writing the code for yourself, because the code which you are going to write will impact a lot of other projects all over the world. So that actually gives you and nudges you to write a really good code. Okay, good code again is over here subjective. So maybe add few comments, good name your variables, descriptively, all that. And then after doing that, you send the pull request through, and then you will obviously have few comments from the maintainer. So you actually have to work on them, because it's their project. In the end, it's their project, and they decide what kind of code goes into their project. So it's and also they are really helpful. They don't actually command you on anything. They just say it would be really nice if we can have this kind of change over here, and you can appreciate that and just go ahead with the changes. After the changes happens, then the pull request is merged, right? And then with this first pull request, actually got a really good understanding. Not only good understanding, I got a self-confidence boost that I actually could make a contribution. And at this point of time, in 2017, believe me, my JavaScripts were nowhere near uh, and nowhere near intermediate developer. They were, and also even if you see the code which I wrote, I'm not doing some prototyping object anything. I just write some if else. That's it. So do you think this comes from an intermediate developer or some senior developer? No, right? It was really easy code, but only thing that took time was where to put that code and what code to write. So that basically takes time. And in that process, I was able to actually understand React a little bit, what actually goes inside the repository, how does the things works and all. And that's really all that thing are really enlightening to your career and all that. So with this, I now, with a sense of confidence, I started venturing out to different projects, which again uses JavaScript to contribute. Now another thing what usually maintainers would ask you to do is they usually want you to write test to your pull request. That is to fortify that your work is actually passing all their standards and all. So it's I didn't know testing back then, but somehow I read online and got that thing to work in. And with that I picked up a new skill, right? Testing, JavaScript testing. So and then after doing this and few other pull requests, I came to understanding that the way I should learn is basically, if I want to pick up a new skill, I should probably contribute to open source which actually uses that technology or language or whatever. That way, you learn very quickly, and you build up. Not only you just by following a tutorial, you probably could make few things, but by following open source, by contributing to open source, you can actually level up as a developer very fast. So before going ahead, do you have any questions? So you can put on chat if you want.
Guys, you can post your questions in the chat as well if you want.
Yeah, please.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Okay. So many times while means as I am a beginner, so I just uh, went directly into the issues with good first label, but many times I was unable to identify as in your case, you didn't know prototypes, prop types, so something like that. So is it ethical or a good practice to directly ask in the comment, means like directly reply them, means I am a beginner, can you please guide me or something like that in the uh, issue number itself, or is there some other way around?
Firstly, it's not at all look down to past issues, whatever kind of issues, as long as it is related to the issue or pull request itself. And second thing is, yes, probably, uh, before even starting the issue out, you can try to set up the project in your own local machine and try to
Okay.
see, do a little bit of initial research. And if you're still, kind of struggling to, get to the answer, it's okay to find. It's okay to ask. There's, I don't think it's a question of being ethical or not being ethical. I think it's just a question. I think it should be fine. And I've done that previously, and I still do that because uh, I'm obviously not. I don't know all the projects on GitHub.
Okay.
Probably if I want to get into some, for example, I want to get into Kubernetes. I don't know anything about Kubernetes right now, but I want to. So probably I'll just first read up the code base a little bit, uh, follow the guidelines, and then probably then ask a question, can you help me get started?
Okay.
So just to add to that, generally speaking, when you're learning anything at all, you're contributing to open source or learning anything, any topic, any technology or whatever, the general path you should follow is try to do some research by yourself.
Okay.
Whatever problem you're facing, just Google it out, see whatever you can find. Like try to see, like ask yourself, have I put enough of my personal effort into figuring this out myself or not? Basically, like ask yourself if I've tried enough to figure it out by myself yet or not. You just ask yourself that. If your answer is no, I haven't, then you continue researching and trying to figuring it out. If you still are not able to, then that's a good point where you good place where you go and ask someone else. It could be anyone in a community, the people who manage the repo themselves, whoever it might be, asking them, hey, I'm trying to, and you also tell them what you tried to do to figure it out and why you were not able to, like what problems you faced. So that gives them some more clarity key. This person has done this much research, and they this is what they have dealt with, or what they figured out or were not able to figure out. Then they can help you much better as well, right? So try to ask that question: have I done enough research by myself to figure out what the problem is, or what should be done, or whatever? If your answer is yes, I've done it, then you ask and you share whatever research you have done as well. In general, follow that principle.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Uh, Anyone else would like to go for the question? How to write that? Okay. So
That's a quite a very broad question.
yeah, it's kind of like very broad in the sense that each language have their own testing frameworks and you know libraries out there. So I'll try to focus my question on JavaScript right now. So again, JavaScript ecosystem have so many testing environments and testing libraries and all. So the project which you are contributing to might use a different uh, library which you have already familiar with. So uh, it's a good idea to first get to know that library first, then how the tests are being done, and then move on to the project and see the other tests which were done on that project and get a sense of idea how people are adding a test for that particular project. And I think by this time you will be able to write a test or two on your own. So that is kind of approach which I follow. So recently I didn't know about Go testing, and so the thing I did is there were few issues on Go test, and the first thing I did was first understand the current tests which were being written on that project. I went through all of them, and then slowly I started writing my own test, and getting from fail to pass was a good thing. So that is from my experience. Did I answer your question, Shashank? Okay, good. Any good
So
project in Java domain? Yeah.
I've shared a link. I would suggest all of you to go through this link. It's just a simple Markdown file created by folks at RecodeCamp that provides you all the relevant resources links that can help you get into learning about open source or discovering open source projects, figuring out which one to contribute to, learning about version control, everything basically. So all the useful links, everything, like issue hub, for example, is a tool for searching GitHub issues. Code triage is amazing. There's a lot of different really cool stuff that try to make it much easier for people to contribute to open source. So I always share this particular readme file because it has pretty much everything you would need. Go through pretty much all the links and you would have solid clarity on how to find issues, how to find which ones to contribute to, how to go about it and stuff.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure, Jay, about the Java domain because I've not worked on it. But you can try to see the link which Kapil have shared and get a sense of idea. So basically, what I want to recap is the way to find issues is how Kapil told you can go ahead with code triage and all that websites. The the most easier and basic way is to just search on the GitHub for maybe, for example, Java, right? Java, then you can add a search tag as first time only or difficulty easy, all that tags. And then you probably would find a project which is actually, which you're looking for. Now, now there are few caveats to this. For example, if a good, once you land on the project, okay, check out when was that project last updated, okay? If it was, if you find a project and then you went to the project and you see the last commit was like 3 years or 4 years ago, then it would not be a really good idea to start working on that project, because maybe the maintainers have other priorities and he haven't got time to uh, see the pull requests which are coming through. So it's really good. It is really encourageable to find a project which is being developed, which is developing at the stage. So it's not a good idea to send a pull request to a project which was last committed on 5 years ago. You will obviously lose a little bit of confidence of that, and also it will save you a lot of time because your contribution or pull request gone into vain. So that's the thing which I preferably follow. And second thing is find a project which has a good community. Okay? Cloud native, as someone was saying today, Cloud native has a good community, and Cloud native has Kubernetes also, and they have a really good community of developers who are regularly contributing to the project. And it's a lot easier to get started because you have got help from others if you get stuck on it. So I would say find a project which has a good community and which is regularly being updated. So one such project I want like to talk about now, which I have started contributing to from last year, November again. So basically every year November, my uh, passion towards October, passion for open source get renewed thanks to Hacktober Fest. So yeah, so the project, I'll share my screen now. So can you see my screen? Is still okay? I think you can, bro. Can you reply on chat?
Yeah, we can see your screen, Zubair.
Okay. So the yeah. So now let me actually I've told you all that how to find issues. Then let us see how exactly to implement all that which I've just talked about until now. So when you go to a repository page, okay, the organization page, they usually pin the repositories which are in active development on the top. For example, this although repository was recently updated, but they feel that these repositories are more important to them and a lot of contribution is going on to them. Okay, now uh, somehow I found this organization because I wanted to learn Golang, and this organization has few projects in Golang. So and it's all written Golang. So like, okay, fine, let's go. And then I'll straight go to the issues tab, and then I look at the issues. Now again, they have so many other tags like Hacktoberfest, up for grabs, okay, difficulty medium, tech go. So these kind of tags are, the many organizations or repositories follow them to make it easier for you to understand that what kind of issue is and where exactly the issue is. So now I wanted to, go for the go issues. So I click that go issues, and then I say I want to go to an easy level issue. So I again select a label, and I see if they have something like that, easy or beginner friendly, something like that. They have something called difficulty easy, right? So I click on this, and then um, if I open this issue, then it is already commented that, hey, I would like to work on this. So I'll just skip this. Okay. And then I don't think they have open issues. Many. Let me see this. Okay, this seems to be there. Okay. Now, yes. So they gave a context. Usually, the maintainers try really hard to give the correct uh, context, the background of the issue, so that contributors can easily understand what to do and where the issue comes from. So they gave a really in brief understanding of all this. Then the way I started is I first say, hey, I would like to work on that. And then the issue will be assigned to me. And then obviously I will probably not have this repository set up. So if you go to the README of any of the repositories, they will have a section on getting started. Okay. So I'll probably find that section in the README. So they have Heroku, machine, getting involved. Okay. They have something called getting involved. So they have a whole complete page for that. But usually you can expect the getting started or developing the same repository in the same README file. Okay. So they have a separate section for getting started. And this particular project has a lot of contributors. I have contributed for this project a lot in the previous since last year, and they have a good support. And if you are stuck, there are people to get through it. So then I was looking at this at the server repo, right? So I'll just follow the developer steps. Now, most of the time you will not set up the repository. Okay, so that is where you probably lose half of the contributors already. So because it's very hard. For example, if the project is easy, it's a normal web app, probably it will not take much of a time to set up that. But if it's a library, for example, and if it's a big project, it has its own steps to follow and all that. So give it some time. My request would be give it some time. Try to follow the instructions, and understand what's going on. Google that, Google what errors are you getting, and if you still don't get stuck, approach the community. So they have the community at community.mattermost.com. And as it is, this basically Mattermost is open source alternative for Slack, Microsoft Teams, and Discord, all that. So now either you can probably ask the question the same issue, or you can head to the community channel and then probably find a channel which relates to your issue. Then you say, can I then just write, hey, can I help me for setting up my workstation? That's fine. So once I set up the workstation, so exactly, so you see there are lots of instructions over here, like too many instructions, and it is very easy for you to get lost in all these instructions and not actually make that not actually work on the issue itself. So starting, yes, it will be difficult for you to set up project, but once it is set up, you can go ahead with that. So when I started setting this up, I got stuck. I wasn't able to set up on my machine. So but thankfully there was a community member to whom I had a live remote what do you say, remote call with him. Then he helped me set up my W machine, and it's been really good. So it that happens when you have a good community. And then after that, I started looking at the issues. So initially it was really easy issues. I was again, where you don't need to know the whole code base to work on an issue. Okay? The issues usually are concentrated on some part of the code base. So still, it's been like 9 months now. I don't have the whole idea of the project, and that's fine. That's expected. So the issues which are there, you can try to find the relevant code for that, relevant files for that, and then start working on them. So yeah. So then once your once your project is set up, then you send your pull request, and all that follows. Now for libraries, usually now you might get stuck when you want to actually run a library on your system, right? Because a web app, because this is a web app, it's easy. You can actually run the application, you can see the screen, everything. But if it's a library, for example, React, okay, so how do you actually test what you wrote? Because you cannot do npm install React, because that would give you the master version of the React. Now, how do we run our own version of React to actually see that? So again, there are ways to do that. If you don't know, you can always ask a question: how do you actually run a local copy of a library? So if it is a web application, usually it runs on your application without much of a help. But if it's a library, you need to actually run your own version of your library, right? And then, so yeah, so coming back to this, the community was very helpful. So that's why I keep contributing to this same project. So the end result was I getting good at Go. I was able to write Go on my own, build some plugins and all that. Not only Go, I also contribute to JavaScript, because it is again written in React. So it was really boost for me. Now, why there's also another reason why I contribute. First, because we all have a day job, right? Those of us who do. So you write maybe in some technology on your day job, and the code quality and the processes for your company might be different. Okay, probably you have 1 or 2 seniors who are reviewing your code, and then that's it. It usually get merged very easily, and you don't. If your project is in a later stage and a deadline is approaching, you usually skip the tests, right? But this kind of thing does not happen over here in the open source. You need to give it time. You need to write some test. You need to pass all the CI tool chain and all that. So this gives you a solid doing a job in your doing a job is another thing. Contributing to open source again is another thing. So it's like a continued learning for you. So yeah, so that's why that was another reason why I contribute. Yeah. So again, any questions? Okay. Okay. So there was. Yes, there were a few times where I actually put a lot of time and effort to send a pull request that it was closed because that was not they were looking for. That happens. These kind of things happen in open source. Sometimes your work goes in vain, and I would say I would I would not really fret upon it because although the pull request didn't got merged, but you actually learned something while you were doing that pull request. So yeah, these kind of things happen. Your pull request might get closed, might not get ever approved, or get stuck for like months and months. So there was so there was one issue. Yeah. So there was one issue, the one pull request which actually took me 3 months to complete. I started in December and it got merged in. So yeah, these things take time. So it's really good. So you keep persistent about it. Do you have any questions, Shravan? Okay. So did I answer your question, Priyankar? Good. So is there anything else you want me to talk about?
Hi, Akshay here.
Yeah.
Maybe that was very helpful actually, Zubair. And I was thinking ki maybe depending on and obviously we have shown this how to segregate and how to select things and all. Maybe we can have kind of similar stuff in the Discord group which you are mentioning, or anywhere in the Coderplex where we actively see ki these are the beginner friendly. Like maybe we can develop some extension or some plugin for which will be directly showing this to make it easy for people and make it more friendly.
You mean for the future reference? Is it what you're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, like from now on, like if that's possible, like make a plugin or some kind of thing for to expose it more to the people. Key, there are these many things available. Like why don't you directly go instead of like, I mean, that would be helpful. I think at least
Yeah,
for more
sure.
people to at least open and see, so that the participation will increase.
Got it. Yeah, I'll think of something about that. Thank you for your suggestion. Actually. Next is how to participate in Hacktoberfest. Yeah, you don't need magical powers to participate in Hacktoberfest. You can be. See, I would not segregate a beginner to senior. Really never believed in that concept of being a senior or intermediate developer. That's all. You are a developer, okay, and you're learning things as you grow in your career. That's what matters. So participating Hacktoberfest is not different in doing an open source. It is just an event to where a lot of maintainers actually get their stuff together to open like to be very proactive in uh, making new issues and commenting on your pull requests and all. So it's really a good season to actually get started in open source, because you will have lots of participation from all other developers from around the globe, and also from the maintainers. And they'll be really proactive, and be really eager to help you out. And so yeah, as I told, I got started in open source with Hacktoberfest. So it's starting on I think 1st of October. So one thing is, if you want technology, if you want to learn Go, you can actually look at Mattermost. And if you want to upskill in React, again, you can also look at the Mattermost web app to find the issues in that. Did I answer your question, Harish?
So it's pretty straightforward to contribute to Hacktoberfest. Every year we host a offline meetup, or usually even a series of meetups to get people to contribute. Come down to a location and contribute to Hacktoberfest issues together. But you need to go to the Hacktoberfest website and just sign up there, submit your details there, and then after that it will track the contributions, the PRs you send on GitHub. And the first four that are, I believe, are accepted are the ones they registered, and they I think they track up to 50,000. The first 50,000 issues, PRs that are accepted, those are the ones that are accepted by Hacktoberfest. And if they are successfully accepted, then the person who made the contribution is sent a T-shirt, I believe. Isn't that right, Zubair?
Yeah. I think yes. They should and few stickers.
Yeah. So, there are a lot of projects. Even we try to have some open source projects under Codaplex that people from the community can contribute to as well. If we don't have anything active right now, we even have lots of ideas for our projects we could start as well. Like when we were starting, before we started the session, one idea that we were discussing was building a simple web app that allows community members to create small groups, basically. That they then like small peer learning groups, basically. If you want to learn Golang, if you want to learn Kubernetes or anything, you can create or join a tiny group of 3 to 5 people, and you learn with them, basically. So you schedule like calls together weekly basis pay, and you have these kinds of weekly calls and stuff and learn something together, basically. So that was an idea that we were exploring that with our physical spaces, hacker spaces, but we are not able to do that because of the COVID-19. So we are thinking to have something like that online where community members can create and join tiny groups. That's the main part of it. It has to be small. So we wanted to create an open source web app for that. That is an idea, for example. Lots of ideas like that that we can have under Codaplex as well, that can be part of Hacktoberfest. The issues can be labeled as Hacktoberfest as well, and people can contribute to it. So if any of you are interested in something like that, you can let me know. We can work on that. And yeah. So there's also, I think, DigitalOcean started this thing, September or something, because Hacktoberfest is just 10 days from now. They decided to do something called Preptember, for preparation September or something, like to prepare for uh, Hacktoberfest. I don't know, if you Google it, you might find it. I got an email from DigitalOcean regarding that. So there is a blog post, I believe, something called Preptember. So it's like just a post which shows you how to participate in Hacktoberfest, how to prepare for it, basically. So you can go through that. I believe this is it. I'm not sure.
Hi Kapil. I was just trying to log in through the DigitalOcean website, and I could see many events on October 1st in India. So all are same, right? Almost everything is, they are all with literal
Yeah, yeah.
different
So
names of
those,
Oktoberfest.
no, let me clarify. Those events are like community events basically, where people come together and they try to participate in Hacktoberfest together basically. You don't need to join those events to kind of be participate in Hacktoberfest. Hacktoberfest you can participate in individually. You don't need to attend any event to participate in Hacktoberfest. You just sign up on Hacktoberfest website,
Okay.
and then it like you provided the your GitHub username basically, and after that they start tracking your profile, checking your profile for any PRs you submit basically. So the first 4 PRs you submit, those are accepted, and they check you have done 1 out of 4 or 2 out of 4 paisa dikhate hain, and they check if the PR is accepted or not. That's all. So that's the whole event. 4 PRs across 30 days. The first 50,000 PRs that are accepted are the ones they consider, and those contributors are given a free T-shirt from Hacktoberfest. Basically, that's the
So
whole.
yeah, putting aside the t-shirt part, given that there are many people who will be doing this, maybe 50,000 will be filled up in first 1 2 days only.
Not one
You
two
might
days.
see that.
It doesn't. So it doesn't.
Yeah.
It does get
Yeah,
filled up.
depending on the size of the issue and difficulty, maybe again.
No, so usually it's like most PRs are not accepted that easily, basically. So they also sort of have certain conditions in place to prevent people from making it too easy, basically. They want real contributions, real PRs for real projects. So a lot of people try to game this by creating some fake project on GitHub and contributing to that. And trying to get that considered, but those are rejected basically. So a lot of PRs are rejected basically and not considered and stuff. So there are certain conditions and rules in place like that. It has to be a real project, a real PR, a real contribution sort of a thing. Even if it's a simple small contribution, also it has to be for a real project that is not created for the purpose of Hacktoberfest. So if a repo itself has the Hacktoberfest name, they reject that repo. They don't accept PRs for that repo basically. So they do stuff like that to prevent to make it super easy. And yes, like 50,000 actually does not in 2 days, but I would say I think first 2 to 3 weeks ke andar it khatam ho jata hai mostly. So people who are earlier they actually get, so I mean 50,000 is for the t-shirt. Again, if you don't really care about the t-shirt, if you care about open source, then it doesn't really matter, right? So 50,000 is like according to their budget how many t-shirts they can get and like distribute or whatever basically. So they consider the first 50,000 contributions, I believe. And you can, so there that this you can do independently. You just need to like add your profile to the website Hacktoberfest, and that's about it. Like you don't need to do anything extra. But to encourage people to contribute and participate in Hacktoberfest, a lot of local communities organize these events. Usually they were like organized before, like last few years back it was organized offline, but because no one is doing offline, I believe they're doing the online stuff. So they organize these events that community members, people can participate in and contribute together, basically. So even we, for the past 2 3 years, Zubair also attended. We did one in Triple ID Hyderabad. We did again in Triple ID Hyderabad for 2 3 years, I think. And we did last year we did a series of Hacktoberfest events. I think 3 4. We did one in Dell office. We did one in CBIT as well. So we have been doing for the past few years Hacktoberfest events basically, and we try to get some contributors from the ecosystem to guide people on contributing to open source projects as well. So we try to do that, and then there's also the GSOC aspect of it. Where if you're a student in college, it's also a great way to learn about GSOC and get into GSOC as well for the next year. Prepare your GSOC ke liye proposal and stuff, all of that as well. So that's another aspect of it if you're a student as well, like if you want to contribute. Yeah, you don't need to attend any event or anything, but it's a nice healthy social way to contribute. Basically, you can do it with a group of people.
Cool, got it.
Any other questions or anything? It could be anything general or specific to Hacktoberfest or anything.
Yeah, recently you were means like you were saying there means you were planning about the web app groups, something like that.
Yes.
You were saying that due to COVID it will be online.
Yes.
So can you means like where can I check that means is it on your website code and is it on
So
Codaplex
I'll
or
Wait a second. I believe this is the URL only. So we have this thing called Hackerspace. It's an idea we have been trying to explore for a few years. So
Okay.
it's very simple, where we build a physical space where members of the community can come down any day of the week and they can engage in peer learning. They can learn anything together. It could be data science, AI, anything. So this is the link for that. We got to update the website, but that's the link. So the idea is having a physical space where peer learning happens in small groups among people. It's kind of like an alternative to going to college. Instead of sitting in front of an instructor or attending some event, you sit together with a bunch of peers and you learn together. Even Zubair, while he was learning React, he was part of our space back in 2017, I believe, as well. So that's an idea we've been trying to explore and experiment with and stuff. But because of the current situation, we are not able to do anything offline. So one idea that I'm exploring is, instead of like, we can have weekly, like we can have groups like this online as well, right? So it's like creating, letting either creating it ourselves or letting community members create groups for different topics, and having a limit on the number of people in that group to, like, say, like max 5 or 6 people max, not more than that. And all the members in the group are learning one particular thing, like it could be Node.js or something very specific like that. And they all like come together and they follow up with each other and they collaborate with each other to help each other learn that particular thing. And they create a schedule together on how to go about learning, what resources to go through. They schedule calls together and stuff, and they help each other learn, basically. So you can create that group and they can communicate on any platform. They can create a WhatsApp group, Slack group, Discord group, Mattermost group, whatever it is, and communicate with each other and have calls, weekly calls and stuff, and work on projects and stuff. So we can provide guidance and stuff on how to take advantage of the group. But the main idea is like allowing people, like creating a simple web app there where they can discover such groups. They can create such groups and discover such groups and join such groups, basically. So that's the whole thing. I haven't laid out any plans or anything, like what would be needed to build something like that, what kind of features should it have and stuff. If there is enough interest, we could do that probably, I think. But that's one idea that we have that we wanted to kind of explore. I think the person who asked the question has left.
Yeah. Any more questions? So let me tell you.
Anyone else? Any other questions?
Yeah. So if you have, just drop a question in the chat. So before that, I would like to say a few things about what all I've achieved by contributing to open source. Okay, and what you can probably achieve also. So first thing is, I discussed before, upscaling yourself. Second thing is, because you're coding in the public and there are a lot of eyes on you, only on your pull request, basically, you improve your coding skills. Next thing is being part of the community, because now you're socially interacting with so many other people. That is where the networking happens. So you actually make few really good friends, few who can probably help you down the line in your jobs or something like that. And if the project is big enough, for example Mattermost. So if you have been contributing for a long time now, and you can actually apply for a job there, and it will be you will be distinct. You will be distinguished from other candidates because you already know about the project. You have been working on the project. You know how the team works. You know how the issues are. So they probably will not have the interview process altogether because you're very much familiar with all that. And if they have an opening, they'll probably actually offer you a job. So I've known people who have actually got a job through this approach by keeping on contributing to projects, all that. And so yeah, so I think last week one of our community member also talked about how he got a job in Kafana, right?
Yes, so Gautam is an example of that. He started contributing to open source by from GSOC in his college, and he was contributing to Core OS, I believe. From there, he got into joining Core OS. No, he was contributing to Prometheus, and he joined Core OS. And from there, he attended lots of conferences and stuff. He met with folks at Grafana Labs, and then he got hired at Grafana Labs. And he currently is residing in Germany. He's moved to Germany, and he works for Grafana Labs full time. So he built his career by contributing to open source as well. There are a lot of examples like that in our community who have built their career by contributing to open source, and they are making really good money as well from the job they have, because the companies are like pretty good companies as well. So it's a really good way to accelerate yourself forward in your career as well.
I
And
have
to add,
sorry, I have a question. If no one else.
Zubair.
Okay.
Yeah, Amit,
So,
go ahead.
well, Jubair, you mentioned like you're working for a company in Berlin, right?
Yeah, not Berlin, Belgium. Yeah.
Okay, Belgium. Okay, maybe I. Okay, you are working remotely, right? So, like how we can get a remote job, or like how we can go for it, like
Oh, that is interesting
okay.
question. And I got a job through open source also. So basically, when when I was while I was contributing to, I obviously see it's not that all your pull requests, all your work should only reside on GitHub. It's not like that. You have to probably, you can market yourself in LinkedIn and all the social network that you are contributing these and these projects, and these are your contributions. Even while applying for a job, you can say that I've contributed to this many projects. These are my issue. These are my pull requests. You can actually see how the way I'm writing the code and all that. So one such opportunity I got was when I mentioned that I contributed to React. So my current CEO saw that, and he was really impressed with that. He's like, I applied for that job, and he saw that portfolio and all, and then he asked me questions. If you, that's really good. I'm really the only reason I'm considering you for interview is because you have already contributed to React, and they were using React obviously. So yeah, things like that could happen. And the way I was able to search for that company was, I think the best resource are, as he already mentioned, Remote OK, and then there's Angel.co, again, which lists all the startups around the world, need not be in India, who and all the jobs over there are like high quality jobs, not ads which you see on the Google and all for the jobs. So they're actually companies, putting other jobs offers, job openings out there. So that is how I applied, and that is how I got the job. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was going to just add the same what Zubair said. So I've seen over the last 4 years, I've seen a lot of examples. Remote jobs is something that I strongly believe in, and I try to encourage community members to explore remote job openings, because it's just much better as a way to work, and also to earn a lot more as well. Because you can get paid for your skill, like basically from a company that is abroad. Compared to companies here that might not pay you as much for the skill you have. So I've seen lots of examples, lots of people in the community get remote jobs, and many of them have gotten it through open source work. So a lot of companies today are trying to scout for talent through GitHub. GitHub is their medium of recruitment. So what they try to do is go through projects that they use at the company, the technologies they use, and they try to see who are contributing to those projects, and they try to go to their profile or their LinkedIn profiles and stuff and reach out to those people. And it's like, would you be interested to work? So lots of examples like that. So that is something you can you can't it's like something that comes to you, right? So if it happens, that's great. Like you can't sit and rely on it that it will happen also. So you can contribute open source, and if you're lucky, you might have someone reach out to you, or you can just make contributions and add it to your resume, and then when you're applying to any openings, the employer can get to know that you're actually you have made these contributions, and that can help you seem more interesting as a candidate. So that's why this thing. How to discover? There are these platforms. Remote OK is the most popular platform to find remote job openings. There's AngelCo, as Zubair said as well, which is more towards like startups, and there are lots of startups today that are working remotely. So they are looking for a lot of remote developers. So AngelCo is another way to find remote job openings. There are other websites like that where you can find remote job openings as well, and you can apply to them. Another is through referrals, by because we have a community in which we have people who are working remotely for different companies, and those companies are looking for more people as well. So if you are pretty active in a community like Codoplex, then you can have someone else who's working for a remote job, at a company, recommend you for that company as well. So that's another way as well to get a remote job. Some members in the community have gotten remote jobs through that method as well. So these are the ways I can tell you that you can get a remote job opening, and I definitely, absolutely encourage everyone to explore trying to get a remote job. Actually,
Yeah, we were doing
Thanks.
remote job before it was cool.
Yeah.
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 You
The
are the
remote
best.
jobs are the future, and COVID-19 has pushed every company to seriously consider remote jobs, because it's like it's better for the company, it's better for the employee. It's just management is a little difficult. If companies can figure that out, then it's just much better option than everything. Like just traveling, all of that, avoiding all of that, and just being able to work from anywhere for any company.
Yeah, thanks, Kapil. And like it would be good, like if you can, or anyone can list out the website where we can look for the remote jobs and all that. That would be great. Like if any,
So I've
uh,
shared the remoteok.io URL, and the other one is just angel.co, I believe.
yeah, these two, like except these two, like if anything is missing,
Anything else? I mean, there's we work remotely. I believe that's another one. Even like if you go with traditional job listing websites or LinkedIn Jobs and stuff as well, even they have some sort of like way to filter out remote jobs as well. I believe so. There are lots of options today. If you just search, even I believe on Indeed or something also, there's
yeah,
ways to find remote job openings there as well.
And good thing is all the jobs today are remote jobs. So
yeah,
Yeah, today because of COVID-19, pretty much all jobs have become remote, and companies are seriously considering not going back to working from on-prem, from their company offices and stuff.
yeah, sure.
and there was one more. There could be one more way where, for example, if you like a company, for example, let's say Slack, you like and you want to work there, for example, and you are probably want to apply. So if you apply directly, probably you'll get listed and filtered out and all that resume, filtering process and all. But if you are really considering that you would want to work at Slack, then you could actually go to their GitHub, and see the projects which they have open sourced. Try to work on them, and then once you have a good number of pull requests for them and merged, then you can probably again approach them and say, hey, I've already worked with Slack open source projects, so this might actually give you a little bit boost with respect to the other candidates. So yeah, that could be one of the way.
Yeah, and not just projects that might be under the company's org on GitHub or whatever, but if the company is using certain technologies that are open source and you have made some contributions to those technologies, however small it might be, you would be a very attractive hire to that company, because the company is using the technologies you have contributed to in some capacity. So they would be a lot more interested in hiring you. So if you're interested in any particular company, try to see which technologies they use, and that might be a good way for you to decide which projects to contribute to as well.
Yeah. So any more questions, or should we end the session?
So I believe every single one of you, make sure you join our Discord chat room, because all these people from the community who are working remotely, contributing purposes, they're part of our Discord chat room as well. And you can continue there. If you have any questions at all, you can ask there. We can have our discussions there. And If you're contributing to any project, you need help with anything, you can ask there. So just make sure we're all like, you gotta just make sure you're in touch and like actively participating in the community. So just join our Discord chat room and be active there, and I think everything else can be taken care of. If you have any questions or anything, we can continue there.